Hi, how are your boundaries? How much in control of your life do you feel you are? This is an important part of the topic for today, which is the solar plexus chakra, which is found right about here, below the navel and the ribs. And this is the topic today, the solar plexus chakra, also known in Sanskrit as the Manipura. And as we've been on our journey through the chakra system in our bodies, we've looked at how we have a flow of energy, also known as Shakti, that flows through the body. We looked at how the root was our foundation at the bottom, right down there. We looked at how the flow of energy has been depicted as a river. It's an energy, and the chakra system, as I've described, is a series of energy centres throughout the body. The 7 main energy centres, the 7 main chakras, run up the central meridian line, and starting from the base of the spine, they more or less follow the level of the direction of the spine through the body, as it were. So we looked last time at the Svadhisthana chakra, which is the sacral chakra. So the root chakra, we talked about how that is the base, the foundation. That's very much a masculine sort of energy. It's to do with getting our basic needs met. It's to do with us kind of almost fighting for survival, the things that we need just to purely exist in life. When we come up to the Svadhisthana, the sacral chakra, we find we've met our basic needs. We're now in the phase where we are actually able to start to enjoy life, have pleasure, and we're able to recreate, procreate. We're able to be creators in this world. Now we come up to the next level. It's almost like as if this river that we're travelling up, if we imagine it as a river, it's almost like as if we get to this point where the flow of energy is really strong, and this is the seat of really the maximum flow and power of the life force energy that's flowing through our bodies. But of course, as we saw with all of the chakras, it's possible for the chakras to get blocked. It's possible for the flow to be imbalanced. It can either be too strong or too weak in its flow. So, back to the chakra itself. This particular chakra is depicted by the colour yellow, and it's very much synonymous with the sun. There is a particular god in the Hindu tradition and the yoga tradition, and that is the god Rudra, and he's very much like a warrior. He's like a powerful, almost like a destroying figure. So there's 2 sides of him. One side is he's like a destroyer who comes and just levels everything, clears everything out. The other side, he's also like a healer. And it's very interesting because this part of us is the part where we actually take control of our own lives. So we've seen that we need our basic needs to be met in order to be alive, in order to exist. And that's our first level. That's the very base level of our existence. Then we get to the point where we want to start to enjoy life. We start to have pleasure. We want food that tastes nice. We want a comfortable place to sleep. We want to have a roof over our heads. We want a bit more than just the basics. We want to actually have something that actually feels good, feels nice. This point now we've moved to. Excuse the seagulls, they're a bit noisy here today. This solar plexus chakra is the point at which we actually want to take control of our own lives. And when this is out of balance, we find that either we feel out of control, we feel like someone else is controlling our life, we feel that we're not really making our own decisions. This is when the flow of Shakti through this particular chakra is weak. We don't have control. We're not able to kind of make the decisions for ourselves. Okay. The other side of it is when it's in balance the other way and the flow is too strong, we start to become potentially domineering, overbearing, overpowering of other people. You see, this chakra is about controlling ourselves, having control of our own self, making our own decisions for our own lives. It's not supposed to be about controlling other people and putting them in their place. But of course, as human beings, we often suffer from insecurities. And these insecurities are often from our earlier life. You know, many of us may have been told that we wouldn't amount to anything. We weren't any good. We weren't good enough. And that can result in a low self-confidence, a low self-esteem. So we can go through life then thinking that we don't know what's best for ourselves. We can become indecisive. We can get to the point where we want somebody else to make all the decisions for us. This can be a real major problem with a weak solar plexus chakra. So there's two sides of the coin. Now, so we want to get to the point where the chakra is balanced. It's balanced, the flow of the Shakti energy up through that central channel is nice and even, flowing nicely. So in order to do that, what can we do? Well, there's lots of different things that we can do. Meditation is a massively good tool practice that we can use, and I'll go on to that in a little while. But just basic things in our life. We need to get to the point where we realise that there's nobody better at controlling our life and making the decisions for us than ourselves. What we need to get used to saying to ourselves is, I decide what's best for me. I decide what it is that I want from life. I decide the direction that I go. It's very easy in life to become rather like a sheep. And what does a sheep do? It follows all the other sheep. Now, the animal that's synonymous with the solar plexus chakra is the ram. Now, the ram is the male sheep, and he's very much a free-spirited entity. He's not like all the other little sheep that run after each other. He's an independent, strong character. And he's seen as that character that can climb even to the top of mountains. You know, you'll see, I'm in Wales at the moment, and you'll see on the mountainsides, you'll see the little white specks of the sheep there. They've got up so high sometimes. So the ram is the animal that is related to this particular chakra, and the ram is able to scale those heights. He's able to get up high. He's an independent character. He makes his own mind up. He's adventurous, and he pursues. And this is a type analogous of our ascent as we ascend up to enlightenment, to awareness of ourselves and of the divine, of the universe and everything else. So there's the ram. He's going up that mountain there. He's making his own decisions. He's not a sheep as such that he follows the flock. He is the one who's pursuing his own dreams, his own ambitions. He's going his own way. this is how we can help ourselves. We can move to an understanding point of the fact that actually there's no need for us to do what we're told by someone else. I'm not talking about necessarily, being lawbreakers. I'm not talking about anarchy. I'm talking about us taking responsibility for our own lives and making our own minds up about the direction that we go in. Because that's what it's all about. It's about making decisions. If we look at the rest of the animal kingdom and nature, generally they work basically on instinct, and then they'll do what feels good to them. A cat will go and lie by the fire where it's nice and cosy. A dog will seek out the tastiest tidbits that he can find. And all animals really, whether they're pets or whether they're wild animals, they want to get their needs met, they want to reproduce, and they want to be comfortable as much as possible. But they're not particularly making decisions about their own lives, they're just following a pattern of instinct and what's inbred in them. As human beings, we've evolved a little bit further to the point where we want to take control. And of course, this is where we see some people, and you'll see it in a lot of kind of like political figures, you'll see it in a lot of world leaders who seem to be like they're trying to impose their will upon everybody, trying to get their own way. I'm not going to name any names, this isn't a political talk, but the sort of people I'm talking about. And a lot of that actually stems from insecurity. It's not that they're a really secure person who really is comfortable in their own skin. No, they're trying, 9 times out of 10, they are trying to actually compensate for some lack of confidence in their own lives. They're trying to compensate by dominating other people and putting other people down. And that's the way bullies operate, basically. We've all been there, we've all been to school, most of us have probably been to school, and we've had to deal with the bully. And the bully is bullying other kids because the bully feels that makes them more important, that makes them feel better about themselves, that they have some sort of control. So we don't want to be in the situation where we are being dictated to by other people. We're being browbeaten. You can be browbeaten, you can be dominated by your workmates, your managers at work, the people that you work for. You can also be dominated by your parents, but you can even be dominated by your own children sometimes. And this is why sometimes families struggle. It's a power struggle. And the human nature, it comes through at this point of the solar plexus chakra, that this very much human nature. Somebody wants to take control. Somebody wants to be the alpha in this situation. Somebody wants to be dominant. What we as spiritual beings really need to do, and what's best for us, is we need to control ourselves and let everybody else, more or less as much as possible, unless there are people who are our responsibility, like our children, we need to more or less let everybody else just take control and take charge of their own lives. But we need to be at least in charge of our own particular life. If we're not in charge of our life, then believe me, someone else will come in and they will tell us what to do, they'll dominate us, they will be domineering to us. So we want this to be balanced. So coming back to meditation, how can meditation help? Well, of course, when we meditate, we get into that heart space, we get into the point where we're silent and we can listen to not just the thoughts that are going around in our head or the crazy chatter that goes on every day. We can actually start to listen to our hearts. And when we listen to our hearts, at this point in the chakra system. It's where we're first starting to get the inklings of intuition and knowledge that comes from somewhere that's not just the thoughts that are popping into our head, but some kind of deep down knowing. And it's where we get the phrase gut reaction from. Because it's from our gut, it's in here, it's in the solar plexus area. When we get that feeling about something that we know is right or wrong, then we can start to act upon that. So meditation is a great way to still the mind so that we can start to listen to what the heart is saying to us. It's a very important part of it. So, other things we can do, as we've been going through the chakra system, I've been showing you some different hand positioning, some mudras. So the mudra for the solar plexus is named after the god, Rudra. So it's actually the Rudra mudra. Yeah, catchy, isn't it? Rudra mudra. So just swap out the letter M for the letter R and you have Rudra mudra. And this is what we do is we take, if you think of the letters TRI, try, it's 3 digits. So it's thumb, T, ring finger, R, index finger, I. So we put together just touch the tips of the index finger, the ring finger to the thumb there. Put those together, don't need to hold tight. And then we extend the middle finger and the little finger like that. And then what we would do is, with both hands like this, we would sit and we could place these hands on the knees as you sit in the meditation posture. That's a good one. If you prefer to keep your hands together and keep that flow of energy, if it's more comfortable for you than holding this position, you can always adopt the cosmic mudra, because that's very much, or the dhyana mudra, it's very much a good one for energy flow anyway, for Shakti. So if then we're using the mala, we can hold the mudra with this hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to hold this with the left and I'm going to go through the beads like this. And we have a chant for this one. We have a mantra, and the seed or bija mantra for this particular one is Ram. Ram, 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 like that. Just like the animal, the ram that we spoke of, the animal that's synonymous with this particular chakra is also the sound, but it's pronounced like Ram. So it's very much like a very, very soft A, more like Rom, more like a U sound almost. You can roll the R if you're comfortable with doing that. I find that easier to make the R sound sort of on the tongue like that, but not everybody can do that, doesn't really matter. Rom, 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 if you don't, we're not running the R, Rom. And of course, the ultimate, if you have time, if you're able to, you can go around 108 times, because that's the sort of the perfect number. Depends on your timing, of course. And then of course, when we're in our meditation session, it's always good to finish, I always find, with the silent meditation time as well. So we'll sit down in silence, and of course we clear the mind. We observe the thoughts, and we observe the breath. We observe the thoughts coming and going, but we bring our focus of attention back to our breath. That's how we always meditate. I hope this has been helpful. Other things I can mention are the fact that this is the element that's associated with the solar plexus chakra, And the word solar, of course, mentions sun. The element is fire. So root chakra, earth. Sacral chakra, water. Solar plexus chakra, fire. Fire is the element. Another good way that you might want to try to meditate is candle gazing. So we can light a candle and we can observe the flame. Don't need to stare too hard at it, but we can just kind of almost like look at the flame and then let your gaze kind of your focus soften, so you're not kind of staring sharply at it. Cause if on this, you'll end up squinting or blinking, or your eyes will water or whatever. But yeah, so you can do that with your eyes sort of partially half open, half closed, with a soft focus on the flame of the candle. That's a good one as well. It's a good way to get that Shakti energy flowing. Another thing that I mentioned at my group this week is we can also do the breath, because the breath, train going past now. What we do, if we take a deep breath and then breathe out and do a very vocal, forceful out breath. So breathe in, and as you expel the air there, just do it with force, and that's almost expelling that blockage. If you just visualize as you breathe in and breathe out, you're blowing that blockage out. You're forcing the blockage that's in the system there. So there's a few sort of little tips there for you with the solar plexus chakra. I could say a lot more about it. It's a masculine energy at this point. It's very much that it wants to control, but what we need to control is not everybody else, not try and control every situation. We need to be flowing through life and allowing the universe to guide us on the way that we go. But what we do need to take control of is ourselves and our own actions, making decisions for ourselves, not letting others decide for us. Let one of your mantras be, one of your affirmations be, I decide. Because nobody can decide what's best for your life better than you can decide. You are in control ultimately. No one else should control your life, and neither should you be trying to control others, because both of those being allowing yourself to be controlled by others or seeking to control and dominate others are both a sign of insecurity and weakness, and a weakness at the solar plexus chakra. So I hope this helped you today. I hope it makes sense. I'm excited about being on this journey through the chakras with you. If you enjoyed this and it makes sense, please do maybe give me a thumbs up on it. If you want to catch more of the videos, have a look on the channel, subscribe to the channel, and you can get notifications about other videos that I'm doing. But in the meantime, have a fantastic week. Stay in control of yourself, and otherwise allow yourself to just flow with the Shakti energy of life. Namaskar.